Earth is the home for humanity and a myriad of other living beings. It's the only known planet where life thrives. Earth possesses unique conditions conducive to the existence and evolution of various life forms, including us humans. These include suitable temperatures, the presence of water, atmosphere, and other factors that have made the process of evolution and the diversity of living organisms possible. However, it's essential to remember that our planet is also vulnerable and requires protection and careful handling from humanity. It's no secret that we do many harmful things to our planet. We pollute the atmosphere with toxic chemicals, litter the oceans and seas with plastic and other debris, and build large cities, destroying nature. This is Mystify, and we have a very interesting topic. What if humans suddenly disappeared from the face of the Earth? Would there be any consequences? Our world is in constant motion. People operate machinery, planes, and various devices. If all humans on Earth suddenly vanished, all means of transportation would come to a halt. However, this wouldn't happen immediately. Machines would continue their movement and would cause numerous collisions. Aircraft and other airborne vessels would fall from the sky. For example, construction cranes and drills would continue their work until complete stoppage, at least for several hours. There would be numerous accidents. Additionally, without humans, industrial stations such as nuclear power plants would shut down, resulting in a power outage on Earth within a few hours. Most likely, only hydroelectric power plants would continue to operate, as they can generate energy for months and even years without human intervention. In the immediate hours after the disappearance of humans, subways and various underground infrastructures would be flooded because pumps operated by people are used to drain water from underground areas. It's worth mentioning nuclear power plants separately. Nuclear fuel at nuclear power plants is stored in special reservoirs where a certain temperature is maintained. Without human work at nuclear power plants, systemic failures would occur, leading to the release of radiation into the atmosphere and, consequently, powerful radioactive contamination worldwide. There is also a possibility that improper storage in fuel rods would cause a fire, leading to explosions at nuclear power plants. All animals and plants within the fallout zone of radioactive precipitation would immediately perish. It's also worth mentioning chemical plants producing hazardous chemicals. For such plants to operate normally, electricity and control by workers are necessary. If humans disappeared and electricity was cut off, explosions and massive releases of chemical and radioactive elements into the atmosphere would likely occur at chemical plants, possibly triggering a nuclear winter. If humans suddenly disappeared, all oil refineries would explode soon, as they are hazardous enough even with their regular staff, not to mention if there were no workers left at the oil refineries. Finally, due to the inoperability of factories and industrial stations, the excessive concentration of ions and various harmful metals would lead to soil pollution worldwide. These would be the first days and weeks after the disappearance of humans, but that's not all. Let's look further. After the disappearance of humans, the world will be filled with animals, possibly even insects becoming a significant part of the new ecosystem. Pets will have to fend for themselves, and the food in refrigerators and store shelves will spoil. The pets themselves will be confined to homes. Initially, they will feed on leftover food and drink water that will flow from the turned-off refrigerators, but mass extinction will be inevitable. Pets that manage to escape from houses and apartments will begin searching for food in the wild. However, most domestic pets will not be able to survive for long in new environments. In addition, cities will be filled with wild animals. Several years after the disappearance of humans, the animal population is likely to change. Domestic animals will have to adapt to the wild due to the absence of their owners. Lions, bears, and other animals will roam wherever they please, since electric fences will no longer be able to stop them. Also, just 2 weeks after humans disappear, 3.5 million tons of garbage will accumulate in the Pacific Ocean from Japan to California, leading to the emergence of a giant garbage patch. Several months or years after the sudden disappearance of humans, cities and the entire Earth will begin to transform and adapt to new conditions. Most cities will be overgrown with trees and other plants. Lawns will turn into unkempt giant fields, and plants and animals will fill the land. Neatly trimmed lawns will turn into unkempt giant fields, and since no one will be able to sweep the roads, weeds growing on the roadsides will turn into full-fledged clover fields. The roads themselves will be overgrown with moss and creeping plants. The Earth will gradually begin to take on its original form when there were no humans on it. Trees and plants will also send their roots under the foundations of many stone buildings. During storms and lightning, trees can be struck, leading to fires that no one will extinguish. Therefore, there will likely be devastating fires on the ground. Destructive fires will destroy many small towns and villages, as well as cause significant damage to major metropolises like Chicago, San Francisco, and Rome. In turn, the mass decomposition of organic matter will release a large amount of nitrogen into the atmosphere, necessary for plant growth. As a result, the ruins of cities will be engulfed by trees and other vegetation. It is also worth noting that many satellites will fall from orbit. Several months after humans disappear, a kind of satellite rain can be seen in the sky. And 3 years after the sudden disappearance of humans, the ISS will fall to Earth. Cars and other metal objects will gradually rust. Initially, paint and anti-corrosive materials will peel off them. Eventually, most cars on Earth will turn into rusty debris. However, some metal objects will retain their chemical and physical properties for a certain period. 30 years after the disappearance of humans, the Earth will acquire a completely different appearance. Over such a long period without maintenance, the condition of most buildings will deteriorate rapidly, leading to their collapse. It is also worth noting that catastrophes will still occur on Earth. Rapidly growing forests and pastures will literally take over cities and major metropolises. Attacks by predatory birds such as hawks and eagles will lead them to nest directly on the roofs of skyscrapers. Subsequently, due to oxidation and decomposition, all metal objects on Earth will rust. Wild dogs and large animals will roam the streets of cities in search of food. As for marine inhabitants, life will likely return to normal since there will no longer be excessive fishing. Most likely, the oceans will once again be filled with large schools of fish, as they were thousands of years ago. Most buildings and skyscrapers in the cold climate areas will collapse because rainwater will freeze on their roofs, leading to the formation of cracks and subsequent collapse of the building. And after several decades, there will be no buildings on Earth except for a few skyscrapers. However, there will be very few of them, and the skyscrapers themselves will be severely damaged. The planet is a place where everything is constantly changing, and without humans, the excess industrial carbon dioxide will dissipate in 200 years, leading to a cooling of the atmosphere. As a result, bromine and chlorine will no longer enter the atmosphere, the structure of the ozone layer will change, and the level of ultraviolet radiation in 200 years will break through all dams built on the planet. As a result, rivers will begin to overflow into the ocean, changing the chemical composition of the water. As a result, the condition of the oceans and seas will be close to what it was millions of years ago. It is possible that as a result of the cooling of the atmosphere, an ice age will occur on Earth, which only some species of animals and plants will be able to survive. In 200 years, all man-made structures will rust and decay. However, traces of human habitation will still remain on Earth. Nevertheless, in 1,000 years, such traces will no longer exist at all. Despite the fact that our planet has experienced things much more terrible than human activity, it is worth remembering that Earth is our home. So let's treat it with love.